Everyone wants to get shredded for summer. Whether you're a young guy who's trying to impress some girls or you're just a regular guy who's trying to look good on the beach, the summer can be an important time for us to look good and feel our best and have some visible abs, hopefully. But a lot of times it just so happens that the holidays have been really good to us and we've been eating lots of good food. We've maybe put on a little bit more weight than we'd like. And then the summer starts coming up really fast and we don't know where to start. So in today's video, I'm gonna give you an easy guide that's gonna help you get shredded just in time for summer so you can get to looking categorically sick on the beach. First, we need to discuss who should really be trying to get shredded. And the answer is probably if you're someone who's already relatively lean and you're looking to get that six-pack or a little bit more definition. If you are very overweight, the odds that you're going to get shredded are basically zero because you're going to have to crash diet and it's just not going to be sustainable. You're also going to risk getting a ton of burnout and diet fatigue early on because you're going to have to go super hard to lose a ton of fat and it's just not going to work out. You're probably going to binge eat and you're probably going to end up feeling worse about yourself in the long run. Now, if you're someone who's already into weightlifting and what you did was you bulked up way too hard over the winter, you're probably going to run into a similar issue, except you may have the willpower here because you might have experience dieting, but you're going to risk a ton of muscle loss because you're again going to have to crash diet. And then you run the risk of ruining your metabolism and having to reverse diet too early or having to cut even harder as you get leaner and leaner. But whoever you are, this video is still going to be useful to you because all the same principles are going to apply. It's just going to be a matter of time, consistency, and effort. So if you are someone who's very overweight or you bulked up too hard, do these same steps, but just start out slow and expect your weight loss to be gradual. The more gradual your weight loss is, the better chance you have of keeping the weight off long term. So that being said, we're gonna go into tip number one, which is to have a calorie deficit. Guys, you knew this one was coming. A calorie deficit is going to be essential when you're looking to lose weight. Now, if you're someone who's never tracked calories before, I'm going to give you an easy way to kind of get in the ballpark for where I think your deficit needs to be. If you are someone who has a very sedentary lifestyle, you're sitting at a desk all day, you don't get a ton of steps, you're not lifting super hard, I'm going to say you can go 13 times your body weight in calories. If you're someone who's getting at least 10,000 steps a day, you're moderately active, you're lifting 3 to 4 times a week, I'm gonna say go with 15 times your body weight. Now that should put you somewhere around 500 calories in a deficit, which is going to be my optimal recommendation. I don't think that you need to go crazy on the deficit. If you are very overweight, you can probably go more aggressively and start with a 700 calorie deficit off of your total daily energy expenditure. If you are someone who doesn't want to use the multiplier method, you can also use a total daily energy expenditure calculator, and I'll link one in the description below, but basically this will give you an estimate of what it thinks you expend on a daily basis based on some of the factors that you're going to put in, like your height, weight, your activity level, and you can go from there and subtract away the calories that you think you need to for a deficit. Now, the reason that I do say that you should keep your calorie deficit somewhere around 500 calories if you're already lean and not super overweight is because the greater the calorie deficit, the harder it is on your body and the more your metabolism might even slow down to compensate. So if you make these gradual changes and keep a shallow deficit, it's going to be a lot easier on your body and it's going to create a lot less metabolic slowdown. Now, my second tip is going to be to walk more. Everyone's been talking about walking, but walking is one of the easiest levers you can pull for fat loss because walking has a moderate effect on appetite, so it's not going to spike your appetite a crazy amount. If you're someone who doesn't like to walk, you can make it more interesting. Set some goals. Go walk somewhere interesting around your city. Maybe you want to do some shopping, walk to the mall. Maybe you want to listen to a podcast, walk while you do it. So just a good starting place is going to be around 10,000 steps a day. That's about 5 miles. The average 150-pound person actually burns about 100 calories per mile walked. So if you're 150 pounds and you're walking 10,000 steps, you're adding 500 calories to your daily energy expenditure. So you might not even need to be in another deficit if you just add in the 10,000 steps. You might be able to eat the same amount that you're eating now, just walk a little bit more and watch the weight come off. Now, as you get leaner or you start hitting plateaus, you're going to have to increase the amount of walking you're doing. So if you find that at 10,000 steps, you're still not losing weight, then you're probably going to need to increase your steps a little bit more. Another thing you can also do is rucking. So add a weighted vest to yourself and you can simulate being a heavier person. So you'll actually burn more calories for the mile you walked. So let's say you're a 130-pound person, you put on a 20-pound weight vest and now you're a 150-pound person. So if you would have burned maybe 80 calories for the mile you walked, now you're burning 100 calories for the mile that you walked. So if you're someone who doesn't have a lot of time to walk, a great lever that you can pull is using a weighted vest so that you can trick your body into thinking it's heavier and burning more calories. Now the third tip is going to be using appetite blunting drinks. A lot of times when we're kind of sat down at the computer or we're watching TV or we're just reading or something like that, we think that we're hungry, but we're really just bored. And at these times, you can use these appetite blunting drinks to kind of get rid of cravings and then teach your body that, hey, I'm not really hungry. This can be really useful if you're just trying to bridge the gap between a couple meals and you feel like you need a snack, but you know that you need calories later on in the day. One drink that easily comes to mind is going to be coffee. Coffee, because of its caffeine, has an appetite blunting effect, so it's going to help you eat less in general, and it even enhances your mental performance because it's going to increase cortisol, increase adrenaline. It's going to make you feel more mentally alert. You're going to want to get things done. And if you're doing other things, then you're not going to be thinking about food as much. You can also try green tea. The natural L-theanine in green tea will give you the caffeine hit without the anxiety, and it even has antioxidants that are really good for your health. So green tea is going to be a great option. You can also go for sparkling water, as the carbonation in the drink is going to trick your stomach into thinking that you're full, and it's going to make you want to eat less. If you are someone who's okay with artificial sweeteners, then you can also go for your diet drinks. It can blunt your appetite and it can help you suppress those sweet cravings if that's what you're getting. Now the fourth tip is going to be to lift hard and lift close to failure. A lot of times people think that when they're in a deficit, they need to somehow scale back their training or change how they're training. But the reality is your training intensity is more important now than ever. Because when you're in a deficit, your body might be more inclined to let go of muscle. So the idea is actually to be maintaining the amount of total strength that you have. But if you are someone who's getting very lean, you're someone who already has a good six-pack, you're really getting shredded, what I would recommend is scaling down and focusing on your compound lifts, focusing on going in 3 times a week, and focusing on lower volume and higher intensity. That's going to help you get in plenty of recovery. It's going to help you get the most bang for your buck because you're doing compound lifts. And it's also going to help you maintain strength because the lower volume is going to allow you to push harder and make sure that you're still able to lift the total overall amount of weight. Now the next tip is going to be to change your mindset. If you identify yourself as someone who's in a deficit, you're going to get hungrier because you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm eating less than I need. I must be hungry. And that kind of thought process can be detrimental to your mental and physical health. So what you want to do is identify as someone who's on a bulk. Eat more satiating foods and think to yourself, oh man, I don't know if I can eat that much, you know? Maybe you have a big bowl of oatmeal and then you're full by the time dinner comes around, like your stomach is actually full. Focus on that feeling and think to yourself, I don't know if I can eat more. And then you can remind yourself, oh, I actually don't want to eat this much. And then you'll start getting into this habit where you think dieting is super easy. In the same way, you should tell yourself that you're still just as strong as you were the day before. A lot of times when you go into the gym and you think you'll be weaker, you will find that you're actually lifting less weight. So you want to identify as someone who's on a bulk, and you're going to find that dieting is probably going to be a lot easier than you ever thought it was this way. Now the last tip is going to be leaving space for treats. Dieting doesn't mean that you need to deprive yourself of anything that you like eating. And especially if you're someone who's overweight or you're someone who hasn't had a very healthy diet up until this point, you're going to get cravings. And a lot of times the night is when these cravings show up the most because we have the least ability to deal with stress, and we need more serotonin at this time to put us to sleep. So what I'm going to suggest is to have something small, controllable, and pre-packaged that you don't have to track. Save 300 to 400 calories at the end of your day for a little treat that's already in a package. If you track it, a lot of times this can cause excess stress and it can make you want to eat more. So don't track it, just know that it's about 300 to 400 calories, have it pre-packaged, ready to go, and every night you have something to look forward to and something that kind of keeps you motivated on your diet and prevents you from getting burnt out. So if you follow these tips, whether you're 10% body fat or you're 20% body fat, you will get shredded. Now, whether you can get shredded for the summer or not is going to be a little bit different, but if you follow these tips, you can be in a way better place, at least by the end of the summer, and you're probably going to be just as satisfied because you're going to be able to keep that weight off through the winters now because you've built up better habits and you didn't crash diet and you didn't binge eat right off the end. So comment down below, did you find this video helpful? Is there anything in particular that you'd like me to discuss next? And if you haven't already, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you can stay up to date when I post new videos. I post a new video every single Thursday and you don't want to miss one. And if you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you. Please don't stop now. Go ahead and look at one of the 2 videos that's going to pop up on screen. They're both great, both educational. Good luck getting shredded for the summer, and I'll see you in the next video.